Welcome to another episode of The Focus on our, Valentine's Day. You know what I'm saying? It's feel good, man.
Valentine's Day edition.
Got to give a shout out to my lovely wife, Hope, and my lovely daughters, Legacy and Harmony.
All right, so I'm going to get in trouble if I don't, because you already set the bar, so I can't mess it up. Want to, happy Valentine's Day to my wife, Bathsheba Bryant, Turpay. So she's over in another continent at the moment. So I'll let her know eventually that I did say. Actually, I'm going to need y'all to let her know that there's proof that I did wish her a happy Valentine's Day, in addition to like the 5-page text message I sent this morning.
All right, we're gonna put the clip up so she knows it's real.
Hey, look, I need to.
I got you.
Hey, look,
I got your back.
I need wax. It needs to be all wax.
I got your back, man. As we've been promoting, we have our special guest in the studio, Ricky Goins. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, thanks for having me, man. Definitely got to say happy Valentine's Day to my wife, too. Let me out the house. I appreciate this, man.
See, man, we all on the same boat. But without further ado, man, we're going to get right to Rob's review. And, we're going to come back with the show.
So, Rob, you going to do the right thing and start this off correctly?
I don't have a choice. You all already set the bar. So I want to send a shout out to my wife who's working right now, Cindy Riley. Happy Valentine's Day, baby. Love you. Got dinner waiting for you when you get to the crib. Y'all ain't gonna put me under the bus like that.
Hey, look, he had to go out and do people had dinner ready. This guy.
Hey, Cardell started, man. I had to make sure I was right there with him,
Yeah, my wife watched every episode. It'd have been problems, man. I gotta make it.
Hey, what you got to do is get mad at Cardell for setting the tone, okay? Somebody had to set the tone, and he did. But what's going on, Rob's review, man? What's on your mind, sir?
Now, you know what? I have a lot on my mind, and I was sitting here trying to figure out which topic it is that I should really dive into. Didn't know if it should be OKC versus Golden State, the game that really wasn't that entertaining outside of KD and Russ talking trash to each other in that little 2-minute spurt that we saw, or should it have been the New York Knicks and the debacle that is with James Dolan and Charles Oakley. How can you do just such a great person for that franchise when he was playing? How could you do him the way that they've been doing him, trying to drag his name through the dirt? It's so much to talk about, but I think I'm going to focus on the here and now, which is the trade that we saw today with the Toronto Raptors picking up Serge Ibaka and getting rid of Terrence Ross and the draft pick over to Orlando, which I think is going to actually, it may swing things a little bit, maybe not too much. I think Cleveland is still in control, but I definitely believe that that's going to shake some things up over there in the East. It's something that Cleveland has to think about now, just because there's another threat on the court when it comes down to Serge. Serge being in Orlando, he was just wasting away over there. And we all know that he's developed his game. He's, got that outside jumper going for him now. And, there was nothing happening for him in Orlando. For him to just go all of a sudden and switch to, one of the top-seeded teams in the East, I'm sure he's happy. And I'm sure he's going to play like, man, this is what I want, this is where I need to be, this is where I should have been in the first place, is on a winning team. So I think it's definitely going to swing some things. Not to mention, Cleveland just announced today Kevin Love is going to be out 6 to 8 weeks with that surgery he had on his knee, which is, I'm sure he'll be back and be fine come playoff time, but, they could be hit or miss. We don't know what Kevin Love we might get, come down later in the season. It's going to be interesting to say the least, though, because the matchups now is a little bit more even than what it was before. There's going to be some people that's going to be over the top, man, this is going to put them as a contender right away. There's going to be some people that look at this move and kind of go, yeah, it's nice, it's cute, but you still got to deal with that guy Kyrie. You still got to deal with that guy LeBron. And there's other pieces around them as well that make better when they're on the court. So it's going to be interesting to say the least. It's going to be more entertaining, I think. I hope it's going to be more entertaining. I don't know how quick these guys are going to be able to gel together and be able to play together right off the break. Luckily for them, they got the All-Star break coming, and then they have, a couple more months of basketball before the playoffs start. So they have time to kind of build their chemistry up. Is it enough time? We don't know. Only time will tell. We'll be able to see that in a couple months. But I definitely think it's a very intriguing move by the Toronto Raptors and, giving up their first-round pick and Terrence Ross. That's huge. That tells you right there that they know that window for winning right now is closing. And they knew they had to make that move. So I'm interested to hear you guys' thoughts on that if you have time to share those thoughts. If not, we'll talk about it again some other time. But that's all I have for you guys tonight. Like I said, there was a lot of topics. I didn't know which one to hit on, but I think the here and now was probably the best way to go.
Hey, look, man, we appreciate it, but I'm sure Cardell has your back on the other side of the show with Rapid Fire, so you never have to worry.
Right on.
Whatever you come up with, I'm sure it's something that Ricky and I will have to answer later on in the show. So, Rob, thank you so much. You and Cindy have a great Valentine's Day, man. We will talk to you next week.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good show.
All right, man.
All right, man.
So, you guys' initial thoughts on the Serge Ibaka trade for the Raptors before we go to break?
Go ahead, you guys.
I think it helps Toronto, but when I look at, if you look at the Wizards, Boston, and
Cleveland, the pace that they play at, sometimes it neutralizes the height. I mean, John Wall and Bradley Beal and Otto Porter shooting the ball the way they do. I mean, and even with the way Gortat has stepped up, it's going to be hard just to keep up with those guys. So, I think it helps them, but I still think the teams that can push the ball neutralize a lot of that size.
Cardell?
I definitely think it's problems. He's exactly what they need to battle Cleveland, especially since losing Bismack Biyombo. He kind of fits that mold, but he's more skilled, and he can stretch the floor. So that's even more of a threat, and it poses a threat for the Wizards because now, before they play Toronto, you just got to deal with Lowry, DeRozan, and Valanciunas, and Powell too, but he's a perimeter player. Now you got to deal with him and Valanciunas, so Markieff and Gortat gonna have to hoop because the Wizards, they're up and down with their depth on the bench and stuff like that. So if those guys don't get it done, or if they get in foul trouble, it could be problems. So that was a great move, especially, giving up Terrence Ross, who, kind of, been stagnant with his development and, a first rounder for what they're trying to do. I understand the move. They took Cleveland to 6 games last year in their first year. They trying to come out the East. So you got to be aggressive. And it doesn't hurt that Ibaka didn't end up in Cleveland, you know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is, man. So, I mean, we're going to see. It's time, they're going to rumble.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think it's a great look, and it just gives them yet another big that can pick and pop.
Right.
They got more people to stretch the floor since, DeRozan's not exactly the greatest shooter. Mm-hmm. He's great at what he does, but now you're giving one of the NBA's more serial drivers more space on the floor now. Because now, you can, at times, you can throw lineups out there with Patrick Patterson and Serge. Now you got 2 bigs popping at times. There's more room for DeRozan to do what he does. And another thing is now you got more depth in the front court. Valanciunas might come off the bench at times now. Like you said, you touched on the Wizards, their issues with their bench. It's a great move all around. And all you lost, and I do like Terrence Ross, but all you lost was, I think you gained more than you lost. Yeah. Like easily gained more than you lost because you need that guy right now. And, Toronto sometimes has struggled with really, optimizing their use with Valanciunas. It might be easier with Serge for Kyle and DeRozan.
Oh, most definitely. And then Powell has elevated his game, so he can slide right now. And truthfully, he's a better player right now than Terrence Ross. He could do a little bit more. So, I mean, he might be a little bit smaller, but still, he straps, he does everything. He's an all-around player. So playing with DeRozan and Kyle Lowry now with Ibaka, it makes the team more complete. That's a hell of a starting 5. So, yeah, those 3 teams at the All-Star break is going to be on.
Yeah, and we're going to have to see how long it takes them to mesh. We know sometimes when you bring that piece in, sometimes it works right away. Sometimes it takes a while to really come together. So I think the faster they mesh, the faster we'll be able to see what impact that trade will really have.
Definitely agree. So that's just our early thoughts, Rob. We did respond to you, and thank you so much for calling in. Great topic. We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back right here on The Focus, we're going to talk to Mr. Ricky Goings. We're going to have a nice little chat with him. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're watching The Focus.
E.D.A.S. Everyone Deserves a Shot founder Ricky Goings in the building. What's going on?
Appreciate you having me here.
No doubt. We're going to get right to it. What was the motivation behind starting E.D.A.S?
It was helping kids that don't get the same exposure level as kids that play on the circuit, as kids that play at bigger high schools or private schools. A lot of times public school kids just don't get seen. It's not that they're not as good enough, they just people don't see them. So I remember working with the kid Andre Fox, who was coming behind after Roosevelt won the state title, man, and it had been said to him, man, you're not a Division I basketball player. So having spent time with him, I said, man, no, we're gonna figure something out. In the process of working with him, we found a lot of other kids needed assistance too, and it's threefold. It's recruiting, it's academic, and it's training. So we look at the transcripts, break them down, see what the opportunities are there, put them on an academic plan, have them in the gym working out, and then we're contacting college coaches. So with Andre came Mike Cunningham, who we were just talking about. And then Marquise Reed showed up in my gym one night needing some just some guidance. And so we decided, hey, if we're going to do this, we got to do it in a way that people can realize we're serious, not just something we're doing. So me and my partners, Brian, Ty, Byron, and Frank decided, we thought everyone deserves a shot, because what it means is everybody deserves a chance really to get seen and show what they can do. It's no results aren't promised, but the opportunity we can present to you. So, if you look at it now, Rodney Pryor came through. He's having a great year. Roddy Peters recently joined up with us. So you ran the kids that, even the kids that were given those opportunities, sometimes things don't work out, and they need somebody that can just be that reinforcement. So that's the piece we've added, is we mentor these kids. So once they've signed, now we're here for them when things are going on. When maybe they're having a hard time in school, they just need somebody to talk to, share some stuff with. That's what we try to offer. Never knew it would become as big as it has, but it's the motivation is get these kids in school, give them a chance to see something else, and if they need help in the process, to be there for them.
Okay, and it's funny you mentioned Michael Cunningham. Since I started in 2012 with Finance Magazine, he's probably the poster child for why I started what I'm doing, because I saw him as a junior Duval. He put up a triple-double through 3 quarters in the DMV Elite event at Trinity, and I became a believer. Then a lot of off-court stuff happened with him. And now he's doing well at USC Upstate. A lot of people don't know he's the first high school player I even put on the cover, because even before he kind of became more known outside the area, that's how I believed in his game. So I know he's legit. Who are the other players besides him that have came through and that may have been under the radar, so to speak? I know you named a few, but can you give us more who was under the radar, who exploded after being a part of your program?
I always got to start out with Andre, because this was a kid that he could just really play. He just was behind a 27-1 state championship team. So just being able to put him in front of the coach at High Point, who was there from early on, who believed in him through the prep school process, was just a great experience for me. Another good one recently, Kyrell Green. I'll talk about him. He's at Niagara, just signed there. I mean, in January of last year, nobody knew his name. But he was a 6'8" kid, and a lot of people don't remember this, but when they played H.D. Woodson, he had like 24 points, 18 rebounds while Antoine Walker was guarding him. So being able to make a few calls, and they came down and saw him. Then they flew him up there, and he was signed. Linjo Kilo is the one I like to talk about. He was at UDC. He was all conference. He ended up getting injured and decided he wanted to take his graduate senior year to go to a Division I school. He went to Savannah State University. So now he's overseas in Luxembourg. Because he played Division I, he got an opportunity to earn some money. So, those are the kids that really, really, I enjoy working with, because it shows you that if kids just get the same opportunities as some of the kids that play for Takeover or for Assault, Premier, you can get the same results.
No doubt. How difficult has it been maintaining the mission of the program? Has it been difficult with that all?
Initially I thought it would be, but it hasn't been, because of how people are referred to the program. So, like Marquise Reed, spending time with him once he signed with Robert Morris, man, I ended up working with 4 guys from that team. That's how I met Rodney Pryor.
Right.
And Rodney Pryor referred Elijah Minnie, who eventually ended up moving on. Byron Hawkins, who I worked with, ended up referring Corey Holden, who ended up #1 transfer in the nation. So these guys realized that we're genuine and just wanting to help. And one thing I definitely want to mention is what I tell these guys: #1, you don't owe us anything. Don't ever think you owe me something. All I want from you is, if you're ever in a position to help somebody the way you were helped, if you can help a kid, if you can pay it forward, then you've done what I expected you to do. But I'm not asking you to donate back to our program. Like, just take it and run with it so we can just improve the next generation.
Exactly. Now, March, you have a 30-30 combine coming up that's grown and has attracted a lot of players and has helped a lot of players get seen. Can you talk to us about that? I know it's coming late next March.
Yeah, it'll be March. We do the third Saturday of March. This will be the 3rd year. When we started in 2015, it was just kids from the PG4A, and the reason we did it that way was we were like, those kids kind of knew who we were from working with Andre and Mike. So we figured, hey, they would come. So we had about 45 kids. And then through that summer, people were saying, man, the event's free. So I want to definitely mention that. We don't charge the kids, the spectators, or the coaches. The focus is so that two things can happen. High school and AAU coaches can meet college coaches, so they can make their own connection for these kids. The second thing is to take some kids that you may not have heard. For example, we had a Mike Spate in the 10th grade, who a lot of people didn't know yet, on the same court with Ed Polite at the time, who was going to Radford. So we wanted to create that dynamic. Then the next year, we opened it up to DC schools, public schools, and we had Mike and Najee went at it and had 50 points apiece last year. We had about 70 kids last year, and this year we've already had 102 registered. We allowed some underrated private school kids in, so it gives kids a chance, because a lot of times you go to understand senior events. Sometimes the kids may not be scholarship level players, and everybody's paying, and the only person really getting something out of it is the person hosting it. Well, when you take some of these underrated kids and you put them on a court with the D1 kids, the Jamarco Pickett's, the guys like that, and they can show Trent Dixon out of Central is a good example. I mean, the kid, nobody knew who that kid was. He came in and scored 32 points the first game.
Yep.
And then when they played the second game, in the championship game, he had 28 points at halftime. Now he's having a great season. So it shows that basketball is basketball between the four white lines. So that's what the 30 by 30 is about, just getting those kids in. And the name 30 by 30 comes from the original event was supposed to be 30 kids and 30 coaches. It didn't stay that way, right. But the name did. So that's what it is.
Okay, I know the event's gonna be at Coolidge next month. Does the event move around, or will it just stay in DC?
We will offer some opportunities to do it some other places. I just know that DC is a central location for the kids coming from Montgomery County, Virginia. So we'll definitely explore it, but just from a location standpoint, it's the easiest place.
Okay, and another project you're doing, E.D.A.S project, honoring DC basketball legends. Especially when I got a lot of respect for, like Kurt Troublesmith, that, who I always say he's the best player not to make the league that ever came out the area. So can you tell us about that and the upcoming, documentary?
Yeah, so E.D.A.S project it's funny, it branched off the 30 by 30 because the first, I give all of my events themes, and the theme of the second 30 by 30 was E.D.A.S, right? So these are kids that people don't, they don't know, but they can perform at the same level. So it's like, hey, why aren't we getting the same opportunities? In the process of that, what I realized was these kids in this area, they don't know basketball past Kevin Durant. They know that's it. They don't even really know much about Steve Francis, Kevin Durant. So I said, well, let me figure out a way that I can bridge the young kids and still honor the old guys at the same time, older guys at the same time. So I decided to call it the Why Not Us project. And we did a short little video where we talked about how guys from New York and LA know their history. Guys in DC don't know their history. So we decided it was simple. Me and one of the guys, E.D.A.S, who was a DC basketball legend, started posting guys, and then I ended up Brian Chase, who was from around Malcolm Battle, Coach Chavez, and Charles Harrison from Georgetown, kind of joined in. So we started saying we're going to do it by decade. So every day we post a different decade, and it's just really paying homage to what people accomplish while at the same time informing the younger people. So in the process of that, I said, hey, and I'd known Kurt since I was young. He was good friends with my father, and I played against him when I was real young. He was older, of course. And I said, man, people really don't know his story. They don't know some of the roles he's played in this area. I mean, for example, one thing that, and it was mentioned in something before, but a lot of people know he's the one that introduced Dermot Johnson to Curtis Malone, which started that. He was the one that brought, Kevin Durant and Ty Lawson, those guys, down to Bury Farms, which helped make Bury Farms what it is. So I figured that if people understood that maybe he didn't play in the NBA, but the impact he had on DC basketball is still great. A lot of people give him credit for it. And so, we're going through the process. We're still filming, still working on it, and we do a little live Facebook video every Saturday night where he comes in and talks DC basketball, talks NBA basketball as well. So just drumming up some more interest for the documentary. So hopefully we'll be releasing it during the summer. He wants to release it around the time Watts start. Okay. So that's what we're aiming for.
One thing you mentioned is a lot of the youth don't know about the history. They don't know about people who came before them. Earlier show, I kind of said, basketball is big around here, but it's also a lot of hate and jealousy with it. And everybody want to feel like they're the king and everything. It's not like that. It's enough to go around. You know what I'm saying? So do you feel that type of vibe is one of the main reasons why people just tend to forget about the past and just we focus on here and now?
I think that's a huge part of it. The opening of the trailer for Kurt Smith video, Malcolm Battle mentions, we're 10 miles long and maybe 12 miles wide, but the talent per capita is there. So you have all these people that come through here, and some people may feel like they got overlooked, but it's such a small space, but so many people. So how do you cover everybody? I mean, you look at the Washington Post or Met, they got to reach out to people in Northern Virginia. They got to reach out to people short of Baltimore. So if you don't feel like you're a part of that circle, I mean, it bothers people and it creates the hate. I mean, I won't go into no specifics. You'd be surprised when people DM me saying, "Why haven't you posted me? Why haven't you posted that guy?" No, why? We post 5 days a week, so we're going to get to you. But people really take shot. Even with the live Facebook feed, me and Trouble do, people call us during the week. You know, we do some comparison sometimes. How did you not mention my name? And you know, but the thing is, the point of this project is to try to find a way to include everybody. It's going to take a while. It may take a couple years, but we're going to try to get to everybody that made a impact, and even some people that maybe off the court made an impact. We do coaches, we do things like that. So, but it just takes time to do it, and you know, sometimes people aren't patient, but we're getting to it.
No doubt, because one thing I always try to big up, that who I feel like set the tone and started it all was Elgin Baylor. And you know, how do you be a Hall of Famer, average 26 and 50? You rarely hear his name mentioned at all. It's terrible. It's
We have 2 of the 50 greatest players of all time from the same high school.
Exactly.
People don't know. I mean, number 1 overall picks from this area in the draft. There's been several. I mean, it's the impact we've had. The first black player came from here in the NBA, you know, but we don't know it because people feel like if I recognize this guy, I'm not being recognized, and that's the part I kind of deal with. But the project's going well. It's a lot of positive feedback, and we're trying to break through some of that hate by including as many people as possible.
no doubt. Future goals for Ricky Goins.
Man, I don't know, man. I kind of go as things. I definitely want to see E.D.A.S continue to grow, help more kids. I definitely want to see the 30 by 30 maybe expand into the Baltimore area. I want to see there's some other projects with Why Not Us we're looking to do on some other players after Trouble. Just, you know, any way I can impact this area when it comes to sports and specifically basketball, I want to do it.
Okay.
You're looking at me. I'm sitting here just trying to soak everything in. You know, as somebody who's not from here, like, again, I have a lot of conversations with you, and I get some of it, but it's a little bit different when you grow up here.
Yeah.
You know, like
Especially
I
when you
understand
play
that.
in
Like,
it, yeah,
it's
man.
totally different, and I respect it. And I know I've been here for a while. I've been here since '97, but still, like, in terms of like that basketball community, I'm not gonna understand it the same way as you would or you would. So like, when I get to hear great conversations like this, that's why I'm quiet. I'm just kind of soaking everything in, and you know, I'm learning too, trying to appreciate everything too, because like you said, in some other places, I know, like, I come from the Northeast, you get told a lot, it gets passed down. So, you know, that's interesting to me.
Yeah,
I do recognize, like, that's one of the things in the area that's kind of still, again, interesting to me, I guess is the right word to use, with kind of is the hate where you can't recognize more than 1 or 2 people at the same time without somebody being slighted. When, again, like, just being here for, you know, is the more that I've got into media and, you know, the conversations with you, really kind of just enlightened me, and with Pettis and other people, like, this area it's been loaded, like I mean, like, really, really loaded, and not just the big name dudes. And it's just crazy that it's that many people where, you know, from, if it was another area, you could do like maybe 5 30 for 30s with the type of talent, you know what I'm saying? Like, the type of talent here, and, you know, like I said, I just appreciate just sitting and learning and soaking it all in. But for you, Ricky, when was it that moment, you know, when you set out to do something sometimes and you have a mission to help folks and get going, and you get so like enthralled in it that sometimes you forget to kind of take a deep breath and come up out of it and kind of just realize, you know, I'm making a difference?
It's funny you asked me that. So I was telling my wife this weekend, I went to the Duke Clemson game, and I want to start by saying, like, everybody can't just get in there. Like, I mean, you talking about there's no, when you're with the player, there's no seating. I mean, the gym up top, there's nowhere I mean, every seat is full. Every person engaged in the game. So I'm standing there, I'm looking around, I'm listening to the band, I watched Coach K come through, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't even belong here. You know, how did I end up going from, you know, trying to just help a few kids to now I'm, you know, I got kids playing in the biggest stage in basketball. And that's not realize, you know, maybe just my vision of, if you take kids that make, I mean, Marquise Reed, just to touch on that real quick, he averaged 35 points a game his senior year. He led the area in scoring. He was honorable mention on that.
That's
and people don't know this, and I'm sure he's playing right now. I'm sure he's found, but he he had one offer. He went on a visit to when it came down to it, when a visit to LIU Brooklyn, and they told him he wasn't good enough.
35 a game here.
35 a game in senior year. Several 50-point games. Then he went to Robert Morris, and a lot of people know it was almost a tryout. You know, he wasn't. It wasn't
Robert
done.
Morris?
It wasn't done until the last day, and when he got there, I mean, but the kid could really play. I know the first day he came in my gym, we was playing pickup. He hit his first 10 shots. Like, the kid was authentic, but nobody wanted to believe it because he wasn't playing for the big AAU programs. So he goes and he wins, rookie of the year in that conference, and he moves on to Clemson, and so I'm sitting there, I'm watching him at Duke. For one of the later plays in the game, he takes Grayson Allen to the basket and scores on him. But what it made me realize was, it's not a matter of, if you just give a kid a chance, if you just say, hey, you know what, let's see how it works. Let's get you on the court between four lines, between anybody. And that goes for 30 by 30 and everything. It's like, the more opportunities you expose kids to, the more you find out how real it is. And how much it really is just about those four white lines, not the other stuff we make it about. And so, that experience at Duke really made me realize I think I've accomplished something.
And the thing is, I keep it 100. You hear that P word being thrown around a lot, the politics, and it's definitely prevalent. I don't like to use it as an excuse. I'm like, you got to find a way. But it's definitely prevalent. Like you said, he didn't play for a big AAU, he didn't play for a big time AAU program, whatever. I know for a fact how some of these AAU coaches will throw shade on these type of players who don't play for their program, because it will take some of the thunder away from that program. Because if he's this nice, like I said, what Marquise would have got signed out of Duke out of high school, what would the question been? Why didn't you get picked up by all? What would y'all doing? And that makes certain guys look bad. It's a lot of that, and that's been going on forever. So it's a lot of little stuff that go on, and that's why a lot of people are like, man, it's politics and everything. I'm just like, man, if you love the game, you can't let that stop you. You gotta keep going, because going back to trouble, like, I was at the game, when they played Steve Francis, the big game in 2000. That everybody remember, probably the greatest summer league, at least in our era. That's been out here, because the whole area shut down for that game to go to McDonough and see that game. And I've heard of Trouble Smith, but I never saw him. And I'm the biggest Steve Francis fan you ever see. So I'm coming in it, we waiting, showtime. He come in like right when the game start, and I'm looking at him, I'm like, and this is the truth. I'm like, this dude look like an old Tim Hardaway. I'm like, he about to get murdered, man. I'm like, come on. I'm like 14, 15 years old.
Right.
They start the game. He hit a Steph Curry 3. Then he took Steve down to the post. Curry was like 5'10". He's not a big dude. Took him down the post, game one to move. I'm like, oh. He told me right then and there, never, don't sleep on nobody, don't judge a book by its cover, because you will get destroyed. And that's when he had like 60 plus on him and got the W. And that's Steve right when he won the slam dunk contest, right when he about to become an all-star. Steve basically in his prime, you see what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, dang, you know what I'm saying? So that really just opened my eyes to the game. Like, it's about skill, IQ, and toughness more so. Athleticism is cool, but that's just enhance what you already got. If you don't have all those other things, you're done. And he taught me that, just watching him that day. So, I learned a valuable lesson. But that's why we got to big up those former players, because he has a lot to offer. Like a lot of guards, they trying to break you down. He worked a lot from the post. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that makes you add, like, a lot of guards don't have that. You see Russ on the post up, you see Walls on the post up. Why not teach kids that from high school where they already got that in their game? It's just a part of it that make them that much better. Who's better to teach them than somebody like that? That's perfected and done it against the best.
That's a wealth of information. That's
what I'm saying. So it's big time what he's doing, because these guys need that type of exposure and everything.
And speaking of trouble, just a little piece of history, that he was first team I met in 1989. Monty Williams was on that team. George Lynch was on that team. Lawrence Moulton was on. You talk several. It was up to 10 guys on the team. 7 played in the NBA, and had careers. And when I had lunch with Mike McLeish, Coach Mike McLeish the other day, who was the coach, was the All-Met coach of the year. He'll tell you, Kurt Smith was the best player that year in the area. So it's amazing how his impact that he had. And one thing I really like about him is he has a lot of respect for the game of the players that play. So he's not a guy that's going to sit around and say, yeah, I crushed this guy. Like, we'll spend hours talking about guys that he just respect, guys that he learned from, guys that he idolized, guys that he really thought was good. He don't bash a lot of people or really anybody. Everybody has their way sometimes, but the amount of respect he has for the guys he played against, I think, is really good and always good to talk about.
All right. thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. It was a lot more. It's a lot, man. So,
And I can't wait to see the documentary.
Yeah.
Like, please, soon. As
It's,
it's up.
it's coming. It's coming.
Like, please. Like, can we get an early screening? Like, please.
We'll definitely set that up.
Definitely want to check it out. But we want to thank Ricky Goins. He's not leaving. Just for
oh,
that,
yeah, you can't duck
that
the
wonderful
rapid fire,
conversation.
man.
Like, you can't come and not get the
Yeah.
rapid fire. That's just a big part of it. But we're about to take a quick break, and we come back. Cardell got a lot for you guys in local coverage. I got a little bit too. You guys know it's all about this area, so we can't do a show without our local coverage segment, and that leads into that rapid fire segment. You know, that's the order in which things happen. You're watching The Focus. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. What's going on, everybody? Just a quick, just a quick public announcement, if you will. With The Focus, we got a couple breaks here on the live stream. This could be a place for you to advertise your business. Instead of us having this break with the still screen and our logos, could be your logo. If you're interested in that, please contact us. You can contact Cardell at cdudley@finestmag.com. Again, that's cdudley@finestmag.com. You can also contact us at finestmmosfocus@gmail.com. Again, that's finestmmosfocus@gmail.com. And lastly, you can also contact me directly, Wilson at mymindonsports.com. So that's a plethora of ways to let us know that you're interested. Again, the live stream, it's every week. We have 2 breaks during the show. Those breaks last between 60 seconds to 3 minutes. The ball's in your court.
All right, as Wilson said, man, contact us. But we're going to get right into local coverage, man. There's a lot of basketball we got to cover, so you bear with us. I'm going to start with GW. They had the most unlikely end to a game I've ever seen. I've never seen this playing. I've never seen this watching. They were playing VCU, who came in second in the A-10. And, I think GW was riding a 3-game losing streak, so they needed a W. It came down to the wire. Jaquan Lewis was at the free throw line. He made 1 or 2. VCU up 52-50 with about 10 seconds left, so GW raced the ball up court. Jared Bowden finds Yuta Watanabe in the corner. He hit what we thought was the game-winning three, so it's pandemonium.
How much time is left upon him hitting this three?
No, this one I'm getting to that. So we thought the game was over because he won the three, so it's pandemonium. Now keep in mind, VCU had originally lost the last game to St. Bonaventure, but the fans rushed the court. They called a tech. You can't do that no more. So that put them, VCU, on the free throw line. They made their free throws, and they won the game with no time on the clock. So that was the game before GW. So keep in mind, they're rushing, they about to rush the floor. GW coaches smartly got the players like, yo, come back to the bench, hurry before they call tech. So the refs went and reviewed the film. Said it was 0.4 seconds on the clock. So it was okay. So it's VCU ball. So naturally, every coach gonna say, yo, set up shop, gonna make sure you don't get off a Hail Mary shot. Coach Mo Joseph, he put his tallest player, 6'11", Colin Gauss, my fault. Colin Gauss into the game. He hadn't played all game to be the inbound, so it'd be hard to, throw the ball over.
Right.
What they didn't realize, Will Wade set up every coach got to get there in their playbook. He set up a perfect play. Obviously, they're not going to get a good shot off. What he did was, obviously, GW scored. You can run a baseline. Justin Tillman was inbounding the ball. He ran a baseline. He had Jaquan Lewis set up shot to take the charge right there. So when Gauss chased him, he ran right into him, charge call. 0.4 seconds, man. Jaquan Lewis got up, went down there, knocked both free throws down, won the game like that. It was the most cold-blooded, vicious way to lose. Just to go from the high to that ultimate low. I mean, you could just see it. It was amazing. So, the highlighters playing, definitely look at it as we play and really understand what happened. It shocked me. I've never seen that. I've never seen that. I got off the game. I told coaches, yo, put that in your playbook, and also coach up to avoid that, because I'm pretty sure every coach is gonna watch it. And shout out to VCU head coach Will Wade. That was a great play to draw, because I don't know how many coaches would have drew that up. So it was a wonderful play and whatnot. So Saturday they played hosted St. Bonaventure, who's I think 5th at the time in the A10 standards. They have a couple deadly guards. Jalen Adams, who came in averaging 21.4 points a game, which leads the A10, is ranked 13th nationally, and averaging 6.2 assists, which leads the A10. He's no joke. I wanted to see how GW rebounded, because they got a young team. A loss like that can deflate you. It carry over you. Next thing you know, we got a 5-game losing streak. They rebounded nicely. They beat St. Bonaventure 76-70. Tyler Kavanaugh posted a career high, 33 points and 10 rebounds. He was a man amongst boys. He don't get enough pub around here. He don't. And I know some people say GW smaller. Man, look, you can hoop, you can hoop. He's a beast. And truthfully, he should be an NBA first-round pick. I don't know if he'll be that, but I know a local NBA team, he could help right now. He's that good. And, Jaron Cena, junior guard, he added a career high of his own, too. He had 22 points and 7 rebounds. The Bonnies were led by forward David Andos, 20 points and 6 rebounds. Jalen Adams, while he scored 19 points and handed out 11 assists, Utah Watanabe, who's quickly becoming one of the best defensive players in the country, did a great job on him. Adams only shot 2 for 13 from the field, but he got to the free throw line a lot. He shot 14-15. That's where he got most of his points. GW improved to 13-12 on the season, and they take on Davidson on the road tomorrow at 7 p.m. Obviously, Maryland JUCO, the tournament, the regular season is done, so we head into the playoffs. The bracket was released yesterday on the women's side. Well, first of all, the Maryland JUCO Conference Tournament will be held at Chesapeake College February 16th to the 19th. On the women's side, the top seed was Hartford, which ironically, Hartford is the top seed in both the men's and women's, so shout out to them. They both did work this season. The top seed is Hartford for now, and the first game will start Thursday at noon, and it carries until the 19th. On the men's side, like I said, Hartford was the top seed. They begin their play Friday with CCBC Catonsville taking on Montgomery College at noon. So if y'all can, take a trip to Chesapeake College. It's about 45 minutes to an hour from D.C. There's a lot of great underrated talent, a lot of them that came up in the area who had to prove themselves once again. Man, go out there and show your love and see it, because there's a lot of great talent out there that a lot of people not recognizing. And college coaches at, the top 3 levels as well, the NAI as well, they might help your program, so make sure you come out there. And also, we touched on DCI AA, they released their, basketball season awards. You know, you can see on the screen what, who's first team, second team for the boys and girls. But I'm gonna keep it right here with the coach of the year for the boys, Angelo Hernandez for Wilson High School. You know, he was named coach of the year after posting 16-2 overall record, went undefeated in the conference. Congratulations to him. And the girls' coach of the year was Reginald Walker of Anacostia High School, posted 16-3 overall record. You know, they went 13-0 in the conference, same thing, went undefeated. And obviously, the boys' player of the year, we kind of figured he was going to be in the running. Keon Boyd, he's also on the cover. I told you about him. He's a beast. And so he got player of the year. And girls' player of the year was Anacostia guard Maya Moye.
And that's a lot. I think the only thing you may have left out is if you want to go watch that crazy ending from VCW and GW, head over to finestmag.com. It's really simple. It's easy to find. You can get on the YouTube machine. Just type in Finest Mag. I haven't watched it yet because Cardell's described it in length like 5 times to me. I need to watch it this week, and I'm probably going to text you like you never told me about it this week. So I'm just going to give you that disclaimer. You might get a text like Saturday like, oh, my goodness, this was crazy, even though you showed me like 10 times. But definitely head over there. And I appreciate you for your part of local coverage, man.
Hey, man, do the best I can. Like you said, it's hard to cover everybody, man. But
look, man, you do a heck of a job as a one-man band out here, man. Make me feel lazy because I have help and stuff. So shout out to my guys that help me out because I'm not Cardell. As far as what I have for local coverage, always Terps basketball, the women that is, they continue to roll in through the Big Ten. It's nothing new. They don't lose in conference play. They haven't lost 5 games yet in the Big Ten since they've joined. I think they've lost 3. They had another dominant performance from Brianna Jones against Michigan State on Sunday. Their last home game was I want to say Wednesday, and that was against Illinois. So we got a stand-up from that coming. I'll recap that for you. This morning, DC United, they did their first preseason camp in Florida. They came back for a couple days to this horrible cold weather. If you follow us on social media, Travis and I were out there this morning. It was a little brisk. I need to upgrade my cold weather gear. So we talked to head coach Ben Olsen. He talked about where they are in preseason. They head back down to Florida tomorrow for the second part of the preseason. That's not bad. Come back here for 4 cold days and go right back to that wonderful weather. And then we talked to former Maryland Terrapin, DC United starting right back, Taylor Kemp. He ended up getting called up to the U.S. men's national team camp right before the season started. So after the camp, after he was dismissed from camp, after camp broke, he came back along with Stephen Birnbaum. Billy Meade also made the trip. And everyone's back. They're in preseason. Everything's going. Without further ado, we're going to start with the first 3 videos. And then, what time it is. It's rapid fire. We're going to get down to business. It's rapid fire time. So, again, here's our part of local coverage. Ball movement. That's what it was all about tonight. We're here at the Xfinity Center in College Park, Maryland, where the Lady Terrapins took care of business, remaining undefeated by beating the University of Illinois 84-59. Story Walker-Kimbrough finished with a game-high 29 points while knocking down 6 3-pointers. Maryland had 25 assists on 31 made field goals. While they didn't shoot particularly well, at least not to their standard, the 25 assists on 31 made field goals is outstanding. It meant when they did score, it was off great ball movement. The Illinois coach shared after the game that their main focus was to limit Brianna Jones, who's arguably the best big of the country. She's shooting 70% at the rim. So what he said was he didn't want her to beat them by getting her typical amount of post touches because Maryland does a great job of going inside. What Brianna did to counter that was she kept moving the ball. Instead of catching and trying to beat the doubles or triple teams, she got the ball back out on the perimeter, and her teammates found the right person. Most of the time it happened to be Shatori. Other times it was just getting the ball out, help them swing the ball to the open person, help them make easy plays. For the defensive side, that's how Maryland was able to gain separation. Story Walker-Kimbrough, again, Brenda Freese named her as one of the reasons Maryland was able to separate because of her setting the tone defensively. Maryland's known as a team that plays with great energy. Their mantra of defending, rebounding, and running, it wasn't in full effect tonight, but it was for at least 5 minutes at the end of the first half. Similar to their last home game, they were able to go on a big run to really open the game up a little bit. For Illinois, they weren't able to get their players going. They did trade baskets in the third and fourth quarter, but the damage was done with that Maryland run at the end of the second quarter. Back to the ball movement. That's the theme for today again. Of those 25 assists, Destiny Slocum, the freshman point guard, had 13 of them. Those 13, put her past Christy Tolliver, breaking the now former freshman record of 145 assists. Maryland still has 4 to 5 more conference games. They still have the conference tournament to go. They also still have the big dance. We know they're going to be making the NCAA tournament. So when it's all said and done, when the smoke clears, we don't know what the new freshman record will be for assists. But Brenda Fries has to be happy about the way that her young point guard and her team move the ball. Up next is Michigan State. They'll be going on the road. And I wouldn't be surprised if Maryland's able to regain their typical energy that they play with. Tonight was kind of atypical, but what is important is they still got the win. Brenda also mentioned that the depth, which they've been able to count on in past games, it really wasn't there. Bree Fraser's really had 3 or 4 consecutive games of double-digit points off the bench. Tonight, it just wasn't her night. But it's a team game. The teammates stepped up. They got points when they needed them, and the seniors led the way.
Yeah, the good thing about having battles for playing time is that the guys battling are all good. They're all real players. And that part's exciting to a coach, and I think in some ways to the players, right? Yeah. With the understanding that this is all of us, battles everywhere, but it's still a group that has to take on this task, and if we can manage to do that, I think we'll have we have a good bunch, and everyone's going to contribute, and we can be successful that way.
You were talking about everyone generally feeling optimistic this time of year. From a coaching staff standpoint, how do you like just the natural progression of getting to where you guys would like to be come opening day?
Well, we're pretty familiar with each other and who we are on the field, because the majority of this group was here last year down the stretch, and that's good, and hopefully that will bode well for us at the beginning of the season. And I think we've sprinkled in some nice pieces to help push those guys and make us a little bit more interesting in the way we go about things, whether it's Ian, whether it's Jose, or Ortiz up top, a couple kind of positional tweaks as well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. As like I said before, it's probably every coach in the league is right now.
All right, for you, obviously, USA national team camp. You just want to talk about your experience in where were you when you first found out about it?
When I first found out about it, I was at home in Colorado. Ben gave me a call. He said it was a possibility, so I didn't know for sure. And then I found out a couple weeks later from Kenny Arena, Bruce's son, gave me a call. So I was obviously super excited and was happy to get in there.
All right, did you talk to Steve about it? With Steve having that experience before.
Yeah.
What's that experience done for you so far heading into camp?
I mean, it was helpful to have him. I roomed with him when we were there, and he's been through this. I think that was his 3rd time. So it was nice to have a guy who kind of knew how things go. I could bounce questions off of him. It made it a lot easier, I would say, for me to get comfortable, kind of find my feet when I got in there.
All right, coming back here now. A lot of the same core, a lot of new pieces. What's that been like seeing, this group now versus what, moving on from last year?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. This is the first year, I'd say, where we returned the bulk of the group. And it's nice because we already have relationships formed. We already have some continuity, and I think it gives us new expectations for how we want to start the year. Last year we were slow coming out of the gates. It took us a little while to find our feet. And this year, I think with the group that we have, we feel like we should be off and running right away. So we're excited to get the season underway, and it's making it a little easier to progress through preseason this year than in years past.
All right, and then lastly, you're still one of the younger guys, but with this roster, a lot of youth, a lot of really young guys mixed in. Just some of your thoughts on what's that been like, mixing in with the group and being able to kind of just help the younger guys along.
Yeah, the youth here I think is great. I think they're not just young, but they're good players. I mean, this is probably one of the deeper groups we've had. There's competition at almost every spot, which is exactly what you want. Guys pushing guys, you get the best out of people that way. So the young guys, it's a good group of kids. They're hungry, they want to play, and they're good players. So I think that they're guys that we'll see on the field quite a bit this year, and are great guys to have to push and to start building this team into a championship team hopefully this year.
Welcome back. Favorite part of the show, Rapid Fire. About to get into it, man. Just get right into it. We're going to start with UConn women's. They won that 100 straight win.
Hey!
Game. I see a lot of men in the media, sports, just really throwing a lot of shade at it, saying, they're playing against inferior talent. They're not, they're just stacking the deck in the top talent and all that. I've been hearing it for years. And, it really irks me because it's usually by guys who couldn't cut it themselves. And they see these women doing something physically that they can never do. Bottom line is, what do you say to these men? I need the fellas to speak up on it because I know I've always been irritated with it, but I want y'all to be, what do y'all feel about it?
It's excellence. I mean, I had this debate with a couple of my kids the other day. I said, you give me the 4 top coaches in team sports. Belichick, Kay, my third, but Gino was my third. I'm like, because what he's done and built, to sustain it, it's not just about building it. Sustain 100 straight games and forget that, what he's done before that. He's try to build that. I dare anybody to say that that's not excellent. I dare you to try to build that.
I just want to say, Kentucky doesn't win every year. They get way better recruiting classes than UConn women do. And, that's what people fail to realize is, the team that he's doing it with right now.
It's not that best.
People don't, this, all these players, and this is not the knock to them. This is just keeping it a buck. These were role players last year that are continuing on streak from a historic class that went 4 for 4 and went 1 through 3 in the draft. They're not at campus right now. They got a 6'1" center and a 5'11" 4. Last night, they beat a South Carolina team that got a 6'4" and a 6'5" And sometimes you just got to throw some respect on it. And secondly, for those guys, you don't want that wreck with any of them.
Yeah, ask Kevin Hart. He went over there and they got the business, you know what I'm saying? If you're not a hooper. But the thing is, what I always say about that, guys that play ball love girls that can hoop. Seriously, they give them respect. It's no shade. It's like, oh, that girl can book. You just sit down and you enjoy them. And, even outside, especially, if they attractive on top of it, that just give them an extra bonus. I'm just speaking for every hooper, dog. She got one up on the average chick who just, who just look good because she could hoop. See what I'm saying? But these are guys who, like I said, who could never cut it and whatever. It's just ignorance, man.
All I know, if it was a men's team, we'd be going crazy.
Oh, yes, we would.
Yeah, so we got to stop. Put some respect on it. Leave it alone. Yes, he gets number 1 players every once in a while, but they're usually recruiting classes that have, it's great to get a number 1 player, but it's not like it's not the Calipari class where they got the number 5, the number 7, the number 3, the number 10. It's 1, and then you got people that these girls work to develop the game. So, put some respect on it, man.
LaMelo Ball's 92 points. Do you respect it?
Whew. No.
He said it half court the whole game. I don't want to take away from the kid's ability. The kid can really play.
Yeah, he can play.
But you sit at half court the whole game. You start fouling on purpose. It's a great example of how we treat basketball today. It's just I'm gonna score 92 for the sake of scoring 92, not even considering how I do it. I think it's just disrespectful to the game how he did it.
I agree with Ricky. Like you said, just a disclaimer, he can play. To people that don't know, I think the game before he gave Oak Hill 36, even though they lost. Anytime you give Oak Hill 36, that means you could play. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but come on, man. Play for real. And even the team they were playing against, what's up with the coach, man? Make some adjustments, though. It is what it is, man. Charles Oakley was banned but reinstated. James Dolan. What are your thoughts about James Dolan for the owner? Does he give all owners a bad name, so to speak?
He's just one of the worst owners in professional sports. Has been, will be, will always continue to be. The fact that you had to get Michael Jordan and Adam Silver to interfere lets you know just how horrible you are at what it is you're supposed to be doing. I'm also not surprised. That's why I'm no longer a Knicks fan. It's just disgusting.
That just be a message of how disconnected owners are from the players. Those guys are billionaires. They're hedge fund managers. Charles Oakley is a line on the P&L for them that is no longer there. And if we expect more from ownership, then we're the ones that at fault. They treated that man badly. But if you think James Dolan cares for 5 seconds outside of what it might do to his brain, he doesn't.
Yeah, obviously you don't. Will anyone beat UConn women's this season?
Maryland national championship. If they
can catch up in the rematch, I think it can. But I don't know, man. It's hard. That's a hard question.
I understand, man. Joel Embiid has a small meniscus tear in his knee. Does that worry you?
It seems like that happens with big guys. He's playing well. I think that you got to kind of get what you get from him while you're getting it. And it's definitely scary. But I mean, he's been hurt before. He has a history of injury. So
When I heard no surgery, I kind of just closed the article and kept it moving.
Okay.
Just because with him, like you worry about like, oh my God, he's not coming back.
Yeah.
So, I heard no surgery. I was okay with it.
Is Washington guard Kelsey Plum the best player in the nation?
She's the best guard in the country.
That's what I'm saying.
She's the best guard in the country.
haven't seen Washington play. So.
Oh, man.
Got to check them out.
Okay. If you had the first pick in the NFL draft, which defensive lineman would you choose? Defensive end Myles Garrett from Texas A&M, defensive tackle Jonathan Allen from Alabama, or defensive end Solomon Thomas from Stanford?
When it comes to offensive line and defensive line, I go SEC every time. I got to.
But it's two in there.
I'm going Alabama. I'm going Alabama.
Oh, Alabama.
I'm taking Alabama every time.
Roll Tide.
What Ricky said.
And Saban we trust. Well, obviously they're not in trouble anymore, but after the trade, Toronto Raptors gave up a 60-point lead to the Pistons and ultimately lost to Detroit. Are the Raptors in trouble?
No, because they made a good trade to try to prevent things from that happening ever again.
I mean, I think it's hard to take any NBA team for what they are until after the All-Star break. So, I got to let me see who they are in April, and I can answer that question better.
Okay. Duke is undefeated since the general, Coach K, has returned. Or the Blue Devils back on track?
I don't know. I seen him in person the other day, and I don't know. This is an interesting team for him. I think some of the guys that had expectation, like the Harry Giles, look like he's not ready. They can get it together, but when it comes down to that one and done situation in the tournament, I don't know if they're ready for that yet. I don't see the polished product.
I'm with Ricky. Like, I think they have a lot of individual talents, some of the best in the country. As far as all together, I'm not sold.
Okay. Victor Cruz will not be back with the Giants. Is this the end of his career, or will he get picked up?
I think somebody's gonna give him a chance, but I'm just glad he's out of the NFC East. I see my skins.
I'm kind of indifferent. I hope he gets picked up. I don't want anybody's career to be over, but I mean, it's not. There's been a drop off since, the injuries. So.
And the trip to Miami didn't help things. And not playing good.
Hey, you went there. I didn't. I left that alone.
Hey, Skins head coach Jay Gruden would take back over play calling. Do you like the move?
I don't know, man, because a lot of the Redskins stuff is the execution on the field. Kirk Cousins intercept. I mean, I'm a big Redskin fan, but some of the plays and reads he make, like, that's not the coach. I mean,
Yeah, that's the thing.
So I don't know if that's going to make a difference.
I like you said that because a lot of people just, every time a player mess up as a coach, I'm like, man, that fool don't got knowledge of the game.
You got to know your reads. You got to
mistake.
see the field. You got to know who you're throwing to, where you're placing the ball. I mean, you got to execute regardless who calling the plays.
I agree with both of you wholeheartedly, but I haven't been a fan of that staff since he was hired, so I'm going to continue to remain exactly where I'm at with it.
Okay. Raiders Alden Smith is being investigated for another domestic incident. Is it time to move on? I'm talking about just across the
It was time in San Francisco, and I'm going to say they enabled him. Should have been out the league there.
It's weird, man, because it's like these teams, when it comes to that, they're so inconsistent how they handle it, depending on who the player is. It's definitely a serious issue, but I think the teams need to really look at the issue and stop just looking at how it affects their brand.
Okay. Last question. Who's the better big in women's college basketball? South Carolina's Adrian Wilson, Maryland's Breonna Jones, or UConn's Katie Lou Samuelson?
I haven't seen the girl South Carolina. I'm almost going to take Maryland. That's the home team. I'm almost going to take whoever's at Maryland.
Bree, without a doubt. No disrespect to Katie Lou, but she's just a really big guard. Like, I know she's the tallest. Remember they starting lineup, but the 4 and the 5 are Gabby and Nafisa, and we saw it firsthand. They couldn't do anything with Bree, so and that's why I was hesitant to answer. Kelsey's the best player. Mm-hmm. She's the best guard by far. Outstanding talent, but I think I'm just with Bree right now.
Yeah, Bree, beast. Yeah.
It's hard for me. And by the way, she had 28 and 15 against Michigan State the other day
That's
too.
all
So
day.
just again, that's where I'm at with it.
All right, well that's it for Rapid Fire.
Hey man, so Rapid Fire, another episode of Rapid Fire, another edition of Rapid Fire is now done. We're gonna close our episode the same way that we always do. Ricky, we want to thank you for coming in.
I appreciate it.
We look forward to your return. With the special guest.
Definitely.
And you're welcome without the special guest too. I'm not gonna say you have to, that's not your price of admission. Cardell, as always, thank you for a great show, sir.
All right, no doubt.
And we're gonna see you guys next week, same place, same time as always. And don't forget, You want to get things right. You know, I used to tell you all the time, you want to get your mind right. No head of my mind on sports. The same thing applies to Finest Mag. If it's basketball, man, get over there. Any level, any shape, fashion, or form. This dude lives in gyms. I seldom go in gyms. He's in all of the gyms. So get over to FightersMag.com, get over to MyModernSports.com, and follow the Focus TV everywhere on social media. Facebook, you can just Google it. It's really easy. I promise you. It's really, really, really easy. So without further ado, Mr. Edward McDonald, a.k.a. the Petty Eddie segment.
Again, that doesn't stop the pettiness. This week, on the next episode of As the Knicks Turn, it continues to be a disaster up in the Big Apple. First, you had the mess with Carmelo Anthony and Phil Jackson. It's still ongoing. And then you had that big fiasco with Charles Oakley at Madison Square Garden last week where he was escorted out by 5 or 6 different security guards and he got physical with them. This stems from James Dolan not wanting anything to do with him for whatever reason, even though he's one of the most beloved Knicks of all time. James Dolan is arguably the worst owner in the NBA right now. He has a disconnect from the past Knicks and what they've done. Didn't want anything to do with Charles Oakley. Didn't want him at Madison Square Garden. And now it takes Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, and Michael Jordan, the greatest player to ever play in the NBA, to come and save the day. Now Dolan wants to meet with Oakley and have him as a special guest soon at Madison Square Garden. Well, he should. Charles Oakley is one of the most beloved players in Knicks history. And if he has a problem with the way you're running things, then who cares? He's allowed to have that opinion. He absolutely is. Everything he contributed to the game, to your franchise that you inherited, by the way, from your father, he should be at MSG whenever he wants. Whenever he wants. The Knicks mess, pathetic. Cavs, you should have pulled the trigger on the Love for Melo trade. Now that Kevin Love is out for the next 6 weeks at least, should have done that. Absolutely should have done that. The Knicks really don't want anything for Melo. Then they would have got a player with injury problems who would be out for the next month and a half. So you should have done that. And now you shouldn't even be focused on the number 1 seed anymore. You should worry about getting LeBron and Kyrie rest, even though I don't like the resting part of it. But if that's what you want to do not worry about the number 1 seed because you will still be in contention for the championship come June. Kevin Durant went back to Oklahoma City this past weekend, was met with a chorus of boos, the cupcake chants, and then he just killed his old team. When Russell Westbrook was asked after the game, is this a rivalry between the Thunder and the Warriors? He said no. Well, why not? Because it isn't. Next question. Because it isn't. There absolutely is no rivalry here. Durant left to better himself, both on and off the court, and Russ is there doing what he does, and that's that. There's no rivalry. Russ knows deep down that his team is not even close to being as good as the Golden State Warriors. That shows by the 0-3 record they have against them this year. No team is better than the Golden State Warriors. They have 4 superstars and Kevin Durant, who is a nightmare for anyone. And Russ knows he doesn't have that team. There's no rivalry there. Sure, it's fun to see them jog back and forth. I love when they jog back and forth during the game and different Thunder players come up. But as Draymond Green pointed out after the game, you don't want to poke the bear. He said he tried that before, didn't work out too well for him. Kevin Durant is an assassin, and if you talk that trash to him, he's going to kill you. But there is no rivalry there. There's no rivalry in the NBA at all right now. There's no player rivalry. There's no team rivalry. There's none of that. So enough with this rivalry stuff. The Warriors are head and shoulders above the Thunder, and that's just that. And that wraps up Petty Eddie for this week. I want to thank all of our guests and Dumb Money Apparel. I want to thank everyone for listening, tuning in, watching, however you are coming to us each week, or however we're coming to you, I should say. Make sure to follow Finance Magazine, My Modern Sports, The Focus TV, all over social media. Petty_Eddie15, King Edward 15 on Twitter. Petty out.